You just told your dog to stop barking. They looked right at you and did it anyway. Hey fellows, I'm Kia Wexler, and today we're unlocking the science behind your dog's incredible ability to comprehend human speech. As dog owners, we've all experienced that moment. You say something, your dog reacts, and you wonder, does my dog actually get what I'm saying, or are they just reading my body language? The answer is way more fascinating than you'd think. Dogs have been living alongside humans for thousands of years, and over that time, their brains have literally evolved to understand us in ways that are genuinely remarkable. But, and this is important, they don't understand language the way you do. It's not a simple one-to-one translation. Your dog's brain works differently, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your dog sometimes listens perfectly, and why other times they act like you're speaking a completely different language. Let's start with the obvious question. How many words can dogs actually learn and remember? The average dog can learn between 150 and 250 words. That's comparable to a 2-year-old human child. But here's where it gets wild. Some dogs can learn way more. A border collie named Chaser learned over 1,000 words. She could distinguish between individual toy names and fetch the exact one her owner asked for. Imagine that! Your dog might be smarter than you think. But vocabulary isn't the whole story. What matters is how dogs process these words. When you say sit, your dog isn't translating that English word into some internal command. Instead, they're linking that specific sound pattern to a behavior or outcome they've learned. It's association-based. Your dog learns that the sound sit means their bottom touches the ground, usually followed by treats or praise. This is why your dog can learn commands in multiple languages. Many service dogs, in fact, respond to commands in different languages. They're not bilingual in the way humans are, they're just responding to different acoustic patterns. Here's something that surprised me. Dogs pay attention to the order of words, not just individual words. Researchers have found that dogs distinguish between walk the dog and the dog walk. Even though they're made of the same words, the structure matters to them. Their brains are actually analyzing sentence structure, which is pretty incredible. Now let's talk about your dog's brain, because this is where things get really interesting. Dogs have 2 hemispheres in their brain, just like humans, but they use them differently when processing language. A groundbreaking study from Eötvös-Loránd University discovered something remarkable. Dogs' left hemispheres process the meaning of words, while their right hemispheres process the emotional tone of your voice. That's huge. It means your dog is literally doing 2 things simultaneously when you speak. They're understanding what you're saying and how you're feeling while you say it. In fact, research shows that dogs can actually tell if you're angry, happy, or sad just by listening to your voice, even if they don't understand your words at all. This dual processing system explains something every dog owner has noticed. Your tone matters more than your words. You could say, "I love you so much," in an angry voice, and your dog will pick up on the anger. They'll back away, tail down. Or you could say, "You're a bad dog," in a happy, playful voice, and they'll wag their tail and come running because they're hearing the joy, not the criticism. There's another fascinating part of this. When researchers played dog sounds to dogs while scanning their brains, they found that the dogs' brains lit up in areas associated with emotion and reward. Their brains were getting excited just hearing other dogs. But when they heard human speech, a different set of brain regions activated, areas responsible for attention and processing meaning. Your dog's brain literally switches gears depending on who's talking. Here's what blows my mind. Dogs can tell the difference between their owner's voice and a stranger's voice. They can distinguish between a happy greeting and a warning. Their brains are constantly doing this real-time analysis, sorting through acoustic information and attaching emotional significance to it. So, we've established that dogs get both the words and your tone, but which one is more powerful? A study published in Current Biology found something fascinating. Dogs prefer words they know in a happy tone, but, this is important, they also respond to unfamiliar words with a happy tone. The tone was almost equally important as the word itself. That means your dog isn't just responding to commands, they're responding to your emotional state. But there's more. Dogs can actually tell when you're being insincere. If you say, "good dog," in a flat, angry voice, they know something's off. Their brains pick up on the mismatch between the words and the tone. They know you're not really pleased, even though the words suggest you are. This is why positive reinforcement works so well with dogs. When you say, "good dog," in a genuinely happy, upbeat voice, it's not just the words that reinforce the behavior, it's the emotional validation your dog hears in your voice. They're not just learning what to do, they're learning that you're happy with them. That's a completely different thing. Think about tone variation for a second. The pitch of your voice, the speed at which you speak, the volume, all of this gets processed by your dog's brain. A higher-pitched, faster tone usually signals excitement and play to a dog. A lower, slower tone signals calm or seriousness. Your dog understands these acoustic patterns intuitively. Over time, they learn what each one means. There's also something called the Lombard effect, the way you change your voice when you're talking to someone you think doesn't understand you fully. Humans do this with babies, with people who don't speak their language, and with dogs. We automatically speak louder and more simply to dogs. And guess what? Dogs actually respond better to this dog-directed speech. It's like they're fine-tuned to pick up on this specific way of talking to them. Let me tell you about Sarah and her golden retriever, Max. Sarah had a frustrating morning. Everything went wrong. Her coffee spilled, she was running late for work, and she was stressed to the max. No pun intended. As she was leaving her apartment, she turned to Max and said, "Max, I need you to be good today. I'm having the worst day." Her voice was strained, anxious, tight with tension. Max immediately went to his bed, something he didn't usually do first thing in the morning. He normally greeted Sarah at the door excitedly, jumping and playing. But that day, he didn't. Sarah's own mother was watching him and asked, "Is Max feeling okay?" Here's the thing. Max was fine. He was responding to Sarah's emotional state. He heard the stress in her voice, even though she was saying words about her day, not about him. His brain picked up on the emotional content of her speech, and he adjusted his behavior accordingly. Later that week, Sarah had an amazing day. She got a promotion at work. That evening, she came home and said the exact same words. "Max, I need you to be good today. Best day ever." But this time, her voice was bright, happy, full of joy. Max went absolutely wild, jumping, spinning, bringing her his toys, his tail wagging like crazy. Same words, completely different brain response in Max. He wasn't responding to the words, he was responding to Sarah's emotional state that lived in the tone of her voice. This is the reality of how dogs listen. They're emotional mirrors. They're constantly tuning into how you sound, not just what you're saying. So let's answer the question we started with. Do dogs listen to what you say? The answer is yes, but probably not in the way you imagined. Your dog isn't translating your English words into dog thoughts. They're not running a dictionary in their heads. What they are doing is something equally remarkable. They're using their brain's two hemispheres to decode both the acoustic patterns of your words and the emotional reality of your voice. They're reading you. Dogs listen because they're trained to listen, because they care about listening, and because, over thousands of years of evolution, their brains have become finely tuned to human communication. Your dog probably understands 150 to 250 words. They definitely understand your tone, and they're absolutely picking up on the mismatch when your words don't match your emotions. Here's what this means for you as a pet owner. When you're training your dog, words matter, but your tone matters just as much, maybe even more. When you're upset with your dog, they already know you're upset before you even say anything. And when you come home happy to see them, no amount of monotone words will convince them otherwise. They're reading the whole package. The most important thing you can do is be aware of how you're communicating. Your dog isn't just listening with their ears, they're listening with their whole brain, their emotional intuition, their thousands of years of evolution by your side. So the next time your dog does something that seems to defy the words you used, remember, they heard you, they understood you, they just understood all of you, your words, your emotions, your intentions, and they responded to the whole picture. That's the real answer. Dogs don't just listen to what you say, they listen to who you are. Thank you for staying until the very end. If you learned something new about your furry friend today, hit like and share this with fellow dog owners. Drop a comment below and tell me, which animal should we cover in our next video? Finally, subscribe and hit the bell to join our brand new animal-loving community. See you in the next one.